with the O-Siders, and thanks the O-Siders for giving us a couple of bucks. And we'll go here talk Chargers. He says, hey, the Chargers playing the Rams as the away team this Saturday, and Harbaugh says he's going to start Herbert and most of the starters. Do you think this is because of the offensive line problems?
Well, I just think he's trying to find some rhythm. And, if that's the case, then that means Omarion Hampton, the number one pick, is going to get more than one or two running plays. They just got to find rhythm. Maybe they're going to have Keenan Allen is actually going to get on the field. He's going to play. I don't think they're going to play a hell of a lot of series, maybe a first quarter at best. The Rams are not playing their starters. I mean, the Rams are going wall-to-wall with Stetson Bennett because of the Matthew Stafford injury. Stafford would not play even if he were 100% healthy. So, I mean, the Chargers are playing really well. I mean, they've beaten two really bad teams in preseason. The kids on defense are running and making – I mean, the amount of things they've done defensively, turnovers, quarterback sacks, third down defense, has really been impressive in these exhibition games. So we'll see. And then obviously the Chargers will go back out on the road for their final preseason game. But, we're just a couple weeks away from the start of the season in Kansas City. So for him to decide that Herbert's going to get some snaps, he probably just wants to get all these pieces in place on the field. We haven't seen Mekhi Becton yet, the right guard. He's not practiced, which to me, that's a little bit alarming because he had a bad history of injuries when he was with the New York Jets. He had a good only season with the Eagles, stayed on the field. He hadn't practiced at all, so he's not going to play. I just think that Harbaugh wants to see Herbert in a rhythm with this offensive line, Herbert with the kid running back, Herbert with Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey, who was hurt last week, who's going to probably get back on the field.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I'm sure Harbaugh wants to see what he's really got, because it's a shuffling of the deck. I mean, when they get signed Joe Alt, we were all like, hey, man, it's that third number one pick on the line.
And he's got to be the left tackle now.
Yeah. And so everything is whacked out. So, yeah, they got to find out. And this Mekhi Becton thing, I mean, do you think, or is it Mekhi Becton? What's the status with, I mean, it's like a secret. We don't really know.
They're not talking about injuries at all. There's no transparency. I mean, they've never, ever revealed the Najee Harris injury, even though it's obviously fairly significant. So I just think there's a loss of credibility when you're not transparent on something as significant of that nature. It's not going to change anything. Guy can't practice. Tell us why he can't practice, and let's move on.
Well, that's how the Chargers were when they were here in San Diego with the
Fortress.
The
whole NFL is.
Yeah, and it was just like, they're gaslighting the media and trying to prevent them from getting the real story.
So that's where we are. The Rams, Saturday afternoon, 4:00.
Okay. All right, let's go here to Roberto, talk some Padres Dodgers. He goes, hey, Padres need to take the Dodgers down this weekend. With the Dodgers bullpen edgy and the offense not coming through, this is the time to take the NL West division. Let's go Padres, longtime Hacksaw listener.
Well, they can put some distance between themselves and the Dodgers, but it's only a 3-game series. And remember, the Dodgers are going to play a lot of substandard teams once they're done with this weekend. So, I mean, the Dodgers I still believe they're going to come back. Question is, will the Padres continue to roll? I mean, it's a 14-3 streak that the Padres are on, and this is a Dodger team that is half a team right now, but just because they can't trust anybody in the bullpen. There's nobody healthy. They can't get anybody in there to give them quality, consistent innings. So, I mean, if they could, I don't think it'd sweep the series. Anything's possible at Dodger Stadium. I mean, if by Monday, when we come back on Monday, it's a 4-game lead in the West, wow. But it could also be a 1-game Dodger lead in the West, too.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways this whole thing can go. But it's going to be, I mean, we're all going to be glued to our TV set. Oh, yeah. It's going to be fantastic. It was interesting in the game on yesterday afternoon, they'll interview one of the Padre players in the dugout, and it was a new guy, Nestor Cortez. And he was really personable. I really enjoyed that conversation. And he was saying, oh, yeah, I've already hooked up with Ruben Niebla and we're working on my changeup and everything. And I'm thinking, man, he did a good job in his last outing. And then you look at what Pivetta did. I mean, he shut down the Giants. He's been looking good now. And then Dylan Cease is looking a little better. And obviously we need King and Darvish to come up. I mean, that Padre rotation, if all goes well, could go head-to-head with those Dodger pitchers.
Well, if in the next 6 weeks, Darvish can be what Darvish was, and there are no setbacks for Michael King, and he becomes dominant. And if they've figured out the mechanical flaw in Cease has had 2 good starts now, but prior to that, he had 9 or 10 bad starts.
I agree.
So but hold their breath here. I'm a little skitterish on Michael King going to Dodger Stadium tomorrow and whether or not he's going to get lit, because he didn't pitch well in his first start, but it's his first start. I'm willing to give him a lot of time. I just hate to see these guys all get lit up by the Dodgers.
Well, I just hope, Manny kind of has, cooled down, some of the excitement, and, we're business. We're here to take care of business. And they do that in Dodger Stadium.
You think there'll be a few boos?
It's going to be, the fans are going to be going bananas. And these cocky Dodger fans who've been thinking, no, we're first place, you can't catch us. Now I see some of these cocky Dodger fans saying, well, maybe we don't want that first round bye because we don't want to go into the second round cold. See all these rationalities, all this excuse making, it's already coming from LA.
Maybe they won't be hassling the Padres because they're too busy booing the Dodgers.
Yeah, but the Dodgers, the Padre fans are booing the Padres too. Tatis heard a little bit of it recently.
Yeah, but that's an odd occurrence.
Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to the practicing guitarist. He goes, hey, let's keep some perspective. There's a lot of baseball left. The division alone will not cut it. It's a World Series or bust. The season can suddenly vanish like 24 after 24 scoreless innings.
I concur with you wholeheartedly. But if you can be in the driver's seat, and I think you'd agree with me, Mr. Guitarist, this Padre team is a complete team right now, and they are playing on the edge, and they are playing IQ smart baseball. We haven't seen this in a long time. There's a lot of intangibles to what the Padres are doing that have made them very successful. So let's just see what the 3-game series is like. It's going to be good.
I can't wait. I grew up as a Giants fan, like in the 70s. And I remember in 1978, they actually were competitive. And it was in August, like in mid-August. And it was the Giants and the Dodgers were right near the top. And I just remember being so thrilled as a 12-year-old, or maybe I was 13 that year. And it was exciting. It was an exciting moment for me as a kid. So I just think, for kids right now that they're growing up with this sport, learning about baseball, this last 5 years has been a great run.
Oh, there's no doubt. Whether or not you subscribe to the method of operation of Preller and buying on the credit card every third year and trading the farm system away 4 times in 11 seasons.
Now, just win, baby. That's what he wants to do. He wants to win now.
At the end of the day, the product, the last 5 years in the community has just been spectacular. But that being said, last I checked, you and I have not sat next to each other yet at a World Series game.
No, we haven't. No. But I'm just digging the vibe. Can't get ahead of ourselves. We're not scheduling the parade yet. Okay. But 1 game up, going into a 3-game series. This is what it's all about.
We move on. Thanks for being with us.
Okay. Let's go to Saucy James. He goes, go Halos.
Tell you what, give those kids on that roster credit. There is no quit in Angel baseball. From that roster. They may not have enough pitching. I don't think they have enough bats. That does not bother Zach Neto and Chanel and O'Hoppe, even Joe Adell. For them to do it, they beat the Dodgers 6 times in a row. 6-0 this season. How is that humanly possible when you look at their roster and you look at the Dodger roster, say, no. And they did it. So there's no quit in these kids. They need more help. They need more players. That's what the offseason is. Once you get rid of Anthony Rendon's contract, let's reinvest that money to get the right chemistry guys to come in to be part of this team. It's been cool. They're still sub 500. They keep clawing their way back up. They're trying to get to 62-62, and they go on a 3-game losing streak. They just have not been able to get over the 500 hump. But man, we beat the Dodgers 3 in a row. Credit to those kids.
Yeah. The Freeway Series is well and alive right now. And it's a thrill for them. But, you and I were paying attention to the game, and it went late last night. And I thought the Dodgers had this one in hand. Especially the way it started out with Ohtani hitting the triple and Mookie knocking him in. And
then Ohtani hitting the home run in the 9th.
Yeah. But then the Angels come back to win. That bullpen by the Dodgers just keeps imploding.
It's amazing. The Dodger bullpen has given up 71 home runs this season.
That's almost as many home runs as the Padres have for the whole year.
Yeah. It's just terrible. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to our friend Callan. He goes, hey, afternoon, gents. How do you see the NBA doing with this new media deal, especially with Peacock and Prime Video joining the association? Thanks, as always, for a great show. Cheers to a fun weekend.
Well, Callum, all these media contracts and all the sports are just evolving and really changing. I think the problem the fans have is where you're going to go see the marquee games, because now you got so many quote network partners. I think it's really hard to follow your team on a regular basis, especially the marquee events. And the biggest fear is, are the marquee events going to wind up being put all on some form of subscription, pay-per-view? Yikes. It's interesting you mentioned the NBA new media deal. A report this afternoon is that Major League Baseball is closing in on a deal with 4 different networks, but 2 of them are going to be subscriptions.
Okay.
So, plus we're going to have, obviously, your local team will be on whatever type of media transaction deal they make. But it's tough to stay up with this. And if that's not enough, then we had the whole UFC thing and what just transpired with CBS and Paramount. And they're walking away from pay-per-view. And their whole theory is, this is where it's going to be. It's going to be on CBS, it's going to be on Paramount. We're not going to be on 4 or 5 different venues delivering us the product. Interesting.
Well, yeah, they're trying to figure out what the future is going to be. They're looking in their crystal ball, and it's hard to say. But, if you think about what it costs us with a cable TV subscription, I mean, it could be like $200 a month, depending on the kind of package you get.
Yeah, my cable, I think, is $264, but mine is also entwined with internet and, other things.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the point being is that in order to watch sports using your cable TV package, you have to buy the package that they give you, which includes like the Food Channel and a bunch of stuff that you don't care about.
You don't like the Westminster Dog Show?
I will watch that sometimes. It's very interesting. But the beauty of what's going on now with pay-per-view and all these subscriptions, and at first it's shocking. Oh my God, I got to pay for this. Well, you've already been paying, but you have been paying less efficiently. Now imagine you can cherry pick, the 3 or 4 subscriptions you want, and each one of those is $5, $10, $20 a month. In the end, you're probably paying less than you were for the big cable package. So the whole landscape is shifting, and we're not only are these media companies trying to get ahead of it, but for us as fans, we have to understand that the old paradigm of cable TV is fading away.
So you don't like the National Geographic Channel?
Well, what's funny is I was browsing on Disney. Sometimes I like to go watch Andor or other Star Wars shows there, and they have a whole National Geographic is there on the Disney Channel. You can watch everything. I mean, you could see, was it Jane Goodall out there with the apes and the whole thing?
Amazing.
Okay. All right, let's keep going here. And here's our good friend, Tim Todd. And he goes, hey, what's the outlook for Tommy Edman? How long are we looking at him being out? Love that San Diego guy.
Well, I tell you what, he's had just a bad stretch. I mean, he's had foot and ankle injuries. He's on the DL for the 3rd time. I think they're hoping that they can get him back sometime in early September, but he's a glue guy who has really been productive, but boy, he just can't stay healthy. So it's one of the issues. The Dodgers are, in addition to the problems in the bullpen with all the injuries, I mean, the whole relief corps, you got 6 relievers on the DL right now. And there are 21 pitchers overall on the disabled list during the course of the year. The other thing is some of the off-the-bench glue guys that make a big difference aren't there. I mean, Chris Taylor was released. He went to the Angels and got hurt. Kiki Hernandez has been nagging injuries, and Tommy Edmonds is just not Tommy Edmonds at this point in time. So those guys helped the Dodgers a great, great deal last year. Edmonds was just a gem of an acquisition post-deadline.
Because I know when they got him, we were like, oh, yeah, Tommy Edman, because he was hurt.
He was hurt then when they came.
Yeah. And so he finally kind of got healthy right before the playoffs. And dude plays center, plays second, plays third. He could play short in a pinch. I mean, and yeah, local La Jolla Country Day guy. I mean, he's a special kid.
Yep. But he's not there right now. And that's one of many items we're checking off. If they were completely healthy, that'd be a $383 million team of superstars, but they're not healthy. And this pitching catastrophe it's beyond explanation as to why this keeps happening to them, both at the major league level and what's happened at the AAA level.
Well, this kind of pitching curse is like something you expect to happen to a Padre team, not to the Golden Dodgers. Okay, let's go to our good buddy Aztec Mike taking a shot here. He goes, hey, Ryan Lindley is the San Diego State tight end coach, and it was Christian Chapman. Remember, I was going Christian. Yes, Christian Chapman.
And I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
And he managed the games. He had a decent career. I think he threw 39 touchdown passes, but they didn't throw the ball very much because they ran it and played great defense.
And they always got to a bowl game, if I remember, and he was there for, I think, 4 straight years. Wasn't he from, what was the school up in Orange County? Chapman? No, that's his name, Chapman. Pardon me.
I thought he was from like Cathedral Catholic down here.
Yeah, he might have been. I don't know. But those were times when the Aztecs were they weren't lighting the world on fire, but they were strong and steady, and they'd be competitive in the Mountain West. They'd win it every other year or so. They'd always make a bowl game, and they'd just kind of do San Diego proud.
But Aztec Mike, you will agree with me, because we put that board up, the legacy of Aztec quarterbacks from back in the day, that was pretty spectacular. And we haven't seen anything like that in a long period of time since the Lindley O'Connell era. And obviously prior to that one, it was wide open football. They got to find a way to get back to that. They got to find a way to get those type of quarterbacks back in here, because this is Southern California and everybody in high school here throws the football.
Well, there's more to his comment here. He goes, hey, this is his shot. He goes, see you at FanFest tonight if you were real San Diego sports media.
We cover everything. Do we put this topic on the table? Hell yes, we do. Do we cover everything? Do I go to the press conferences? Hell yes, we go to games too. So we'll see. They start 2 weeks from tonight. Their schedule's pretty colorful. Schedule pretty damn tough. Road games. You got to go to Fresno, but they do get Boise here, which that'll be great.
Did you see how Kurt, what's his name? Kurt Warner's kid is the quarterback at Fresno.
EJ Warner. Yeah, he's thrown for a ton of touchdowns at Rice. He was at another school prior to that, but he grabbed the starting job at Fresno State because it's a new coach. That new coach came from North Dakota State, and they throw the hell out of the ball up there.
All right. Well, it's going to be entertaining.
EJ Warner. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, right on. Okay, let's keep moving here, and we'll go to did we go to Santiago? Yeah, let's go here. Hey, you have to get the Dodgers now while Ohtani is distracted by his Hawaii housing deal fallout. Love the show from East LA.
Well, I don't think Ohtani's paying any attention, which then begs the question, why is he not paying attention to his personal business? But so I don't know how much of this is Ohtani, how much of this is the point man, the player agent representing him. But Ohtani he's phenomenal. Just to watch all the things he has to do Monday through Sunday to get ready to be the DH every day and throw one pitch once a week. I mean, the manpower hours, the mental fortitude it takes for this type of preparation. I mean, we just don't see it from a lot of players. So that's a special individual. I wish I could tell you more about the Dodgers, but right now they are so upside down with pitching problems and injuries. I mean, you sit here and you look at the Dodger record. I don't know, 17 games over 500. It's the most unimpressive winning team I've ever seen because they've had so many problems.
Yeah, but they just keep it like the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Remember, they would always seem to win in the end, and that's how the Dodgers were. But now suddenly they're just getting bit in the ass. I mean, the pitching problems have really caught up with them.
I think so.
They can't muscle the game and win it 11-8 every time. I mean, even like you say, the offense has kind of scaled back a bit. But I just want to make one comment to Santiago. And I love it when you get in fans forum and you kind of shout out where you're from East LA. And I like seeing that because we've had people call in, or not call in, but, on fans forum from Ireland. We've had them from, obviously from Winnipeg, a ton of them there. Las Cruces. We've had them all over the United States.
So you want people to show their driver's license ID here?
Yeah, but I love hearing where they're from. Was the other cool one. Who was it? Was it Dan Patrick? One of those radio programs where people, when they would say, hey, this is, John from San Diego. And you always have to check in with your height and weight. And then he would hit the little, the bell that dings on the counter every time.
That's right. Early days.
I just like, when we get to learn a little bit more about the fans out there, just telling us who you are, where you're from.
So you don't have any problem with me reserving the 10th phone line on Talk Show Radio, my ladies line.
Yeah.
And then the red phone was the Kiss My Aztec line.
Yeah, exactly. We got to have a couple more of those as well. Okay, here's some more Ohtani comments from Joey. He goes, Ohtani ERA is 3.47 and Yamamoto 2.84. Neither is pitching this week, and Snell hasn't gone past 5 innings.
That's okay, because you're going to see these guys probably rotate into the weekend series down here next weekend. The Padres, it's interesting. Some of their schedule, They haven't faced hot pitchers. They did not face Skeens. All the games that played against the Pirates did not face Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
it's kind of really
luck
amazing.
of the draw.
Yeah, that's the way the schedule works, the rotation works, etc. But when you play these guys as often as they're playing them, you're gonna wind up facing these guys. They're going to face Glass now, and obviously they're going to get a look at Snell, and they'll probably get Ohtani next week.
Holy crap. I mean, this is just going to be Clash of the Titans.
Well, prove yourself.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be great. And, Tyler Glass now, I mean, that guy is like, what, 6'7",
Yep.
6'6". He's huge and he can throw it, but, we see so little of him because he's always hurt.
Yeah. Well, he's not had any physical setbacks since he came back from that extended day on the disabled list. So he's back and he looks vintage. Snell, he's had 2 good starts. Now, granted, they may be 4 or 5 innings, but those are dominant 4 or 5 innings. Problem is, with this bullpen, they need more than 4 or 5 innings from anybody.
And they need complete games from these guys.
Well, they pushed Ohtani into the 5th last night, and you could see in the 5th inning he was really fatigued, and he threw a lot of it. It's the most pitches he's thrown in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, on one level, you're saying it's amazing what he's doing, going being a two-way player, and in a lot of ways, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that because obviously that's a very common in youth baseball. But yeah, at that level, that must be really fatiguing. I mean, to do both.
Phil Nevin made a comment when he managed the Angels that Ohtani was mentally the toughest player he had ever seen. And he's talking about the workload and the cerebral approach of what you need to be a designated hitter, what you need to be an outfielder. That was prior to all these injuries, what you needed to prepare for pitching. And then there's all the other ancillary things like studying video and staff meetings and strategy meetings. I mean, these guys just don't show up an hour before game time. I'm ready to play. I mean, there's a ton of prep, especially for a guy that's a DH and a guy that's a starting pitcher. So he's just what Ohtani's accomplishing. We'll never, ever see it again, I don't think.
Well, usually the teams won't allow a player to do. They say pick one, but you can't do both. Now you mentioned Phil Nevin. I saw this yesterday. My son sent me a video of Phil Nevin's son Kyle, who is in the Dodgers farm system. He plays for the AA Tulsa Drillers. Just hit for the cycle. So it's nice to see Phil Nevin. He is the older son, Tyler, I think is playing in Japan.
Right.
Yeah. He is a former first-round pick. So the Nevin kids, we're going to see him in the pros hopefully soon.
Okay, we move on. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go here to Jeff Perkins. He goes, hey, MLB playoff idea. No first-round buys. All 6 teams play a best-of-3. Round 2, highest seed gets a bye. The other 2 seeds play a 1-game playoff. Thank you.
Nah, now you're telling me we're going to change the second round? Nah, I don't think so. That's a little too radical. I think the best of 3 they've got right now really works. And I think that becomes best of 5, then it becomes best of 7. I like this structure, the way it goes right now.
Yeah, I like the way it builds 3, 5,
exactly,
and then 7. You remember back in the day, the World Series, it was the only playoff. And that was a 7-gamer. And then they had the championship series that were 5-game series. But then, it gets confusing when you start to look at the NBA and the AHL, and some of them have 7-game series in the second or third round, and some don't.
Yeah, and you're a big NBA Cup fan in November, which makes no sense to me at all.
Okay, keep on going. Oh, here's some clarification from Osiders. Chapman is from Carlsbad High School, right, and he won the Mountain West Championship and now coaches my son varsity at Carlsbad High School football.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish there was a way that more and more of those guys, and they've really had some really good quarterbacks in that chunk of time, these guys would come back into this program and be visible around the program. So, but again, people go off on their life and their career choices, and some is in coaching and others are not. So, but they've had a good run. I mean, that when I sat down and started to do research of year by year Aztec quarterbacks, and it just floored me how, not miserable, because that's not a fair statement, but how mundane Aztec quarterbacking was post Lindley and Kevin O'Connell, because those guys were the epitome of greatness. And then we had virtually nothing. And from when Ryan Lindley wrapped up, I mean, it's 17 quarterbacks in 12 years. None of them were difference makers or guys that were all Mountain West or guys that were going to win games for you. They managed games, etc. So that group that started in the Air Coryell era on the bottom all the way progressing through O'Connell and Lumley. Collectively, that was a really good group of throwers representing San Diego State. We just haven't seen it yet. So,
one question on that list: Dennis Shaw, is that the guy that used to be the coach at Stanford?
No.
Is it his name is Shaw? Is it Dennis Shaw?
No. Dennis Shaw is from here. He was a JUCO kid. Came in, played 1 year, threw 39 touchdown passes in one season.
Wow.
For Air Coryell. And then went to the American Football League, played for the Buffalo Bills.
Right on. Yeah.
So great.
You know what I think about when I think of Aztec history is, remember Al Luganbill?
Sure.
And he would be pacing up and down the sidelines, and they put one of those pedometers on him, and it was sort of a thing to see how many steps he walked in a game.
Well, he was the one who brought, with his coaching staff, brought Marshall Falk here.
Wow, what a recruit.
Yeah.
Well, I think most big time programs didn't want Falk to be a running back.
There was an injury factor there too. He was a great athlete. He was the SEC teams wanted him as a cornerback, but Aztecs had coaches who had access to coaches in Louisiana and Texas, and they said, "No, we want you to be the guy." I'll never forget the first year that he was at State, because I was broadcasting those games at that point, and I'd go to practice a lot. And first scrimmage they had, and this is when they were practicing on, it's almost like a dirt field. He was the 7th guy on the depth chart in the first Aztec scrimmage. 7th. Yeah, and he got in at the end. He ran 2 sweeps, and he went, whoop, whoop, he was gone.
Well, it was that breakout game. I think it's against Pacific, where
386 yards.
Was unbelievable. Yeah. And I just remember, like, everyone was like, who in the heck is this guy? And he was just lighting it up. And it was just, what a great moment for San Diego. And I'm still angry that Gino Toretto won the Heisman Trophy. And what's that guy's name? Lee Corso was like rigging the system. I don't know what was going on over there, but Falk deserved the Heisman Trophy that senior year, or his final year.
He had a great career. He was the number 1 pick in the National Football League, first round draft pick, went to the Hall of Fame. You can't get any better than that.
Now he's with Coach Prime now, right?
He's running backs coach at Colorado. I think they got 7 or 9 guys with NFL experience on Coach Prime's staff.
Like Warren Sapp, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, he's got a lot of guys there. So that's really kind of cool. But that, man, it's amazing. I never forget. It was hot. It was dusty. It was almost like an all dirt football field. And Marshall Falk, at the end of this first scrimmage, comes off the bench. They give him a ball as an 18-year-old freshman, and he just lights it up. And he did not start the first game of the season either. I think they had a veteran running back who was pretty good from, I think it was Mira Mesa, Wayne Pittman.
Oh, I remember that name. Yeah.
And he had a nice career. But anyhow, then there were injuries, and Marshall got to play, and holy cow, 386-yard game against was it Long Beach State or Pacific?
Well, the big yardage game was Pacific. He had like 4 touchdowns, I think.
That was like the 3rd game of the season.
Yeah.
He arrived.
But they're obviously not a powerhouse program to Pacific, but do that against anybody. I mean, wow, incredible.
It was really impressive. And the sky's the limit. He stayed here 3 years. He did a lot of phenomenal things. So.
Isn't it cool how in any sport you'll find that, all these athletes are all good. They all got there because they're good. And there's always still one guy that is just head and shoulders above the rest. You go, that guy's special.
It's all about opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's move on to our friends at social media, get some of them involved. And this is an interesting comment. This is from 24 to my street. He says, hey, Padres have the better engineer machine. Dodgers are just a bunch of fancy parts strung together, same as the 23 Padres.
I think the most unique thing is baseball IQ. You look at the way the Padres play, they play on the edge. You look at their aggressiveness. You look at their strategy. You look at their fundamentals. I mean, it's pretty impressive. We saw some really bad baseball yesterday against the Giants. I mean, you talk about coming apart emotionally at the seams and just giving up. This Padre team does not make mistakes. This Padre team does not make bad plays. Schilt really knows how to push the right buttons, and they got a lot of talent. Now it's a complete lineup. Now it's a complete ball club. In the years I've been here, I've been here a long time now covering this thing. We've had some really good teams, you know, the Greg Vaughn teams, the Caminetti, the Gwynn teams, Kevin Brown, Trevor Hoffman. But I don't know that we've ever had a, quote, complete team like we have right now, because these guys can do anything and everything. And Schilt just plays on the edge with these guys. I'm so impressed with how well they've come together now that all the holes have been filled on the roster at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you talk about baseball IQ, and I'm going to go back to Ramon Laureano.
Sure.
And it was a game, it might have been one of the Red Sox games where he had the walk-off hit that hit the chopper over the third baseman's head. I mean, that was a Cardinals game, because I think it went over Arenado's head, if I recall. And apparently, Laureano was given the bunt sign, and he missed the sign. He says, well, I'm new here. I don't really know the signs. But he ended up, but from a baseball IQ perspective, he intentionally tried to chop down on it to just put the ball in play. And sure enough, it went over the head of the third baseman. And I can't remember who was on base, Jackson Merrill, someone scampered home. So it's just little things like that.
Yeah. And they're so aggressive. Bunts, squeeze. I've never seen in modern day baseball. You ever seen as many squeeze bunts with guys on third?
Well, they had to do that, because if Martin Maldonado or, Elias Diaz is up and you got a fast guy on third base, yeah, those guys were just laying down like a safety squeeze, and that made sense. But then other teams started catching on, and then they kind of got thrown out a few times.
Yeah, but they're still doing it. They still do it a chunk of times.
Yeah.
And I sit here myself, I say, everybody's got video of everybody else playing. You're telling me that these teams aren't paying attention to the Padres' history of laying down bunts?
Oh, they're paying attention.
But they're not defending it.
No, they're not. I mean, yeah, they probably don't want to get in too tight. But a couple other comments. First of all, did you see the video, the iPads that the Red Sox had of Suarez? Now, was that legal? I think it should be legal, right? I mean,
well, they got it off Padre TV.
But if you really zoomed in on those pictures, I couldn't really tell the difference. It must have been really subtle,
but they figured it out. At least that's what they say.
The other question I have for you about the Padres roster is, what's your take on Luis Arraez? I mean, there's a lot of people that think that he shouldn't be playing every day, or if he is, he should be batting like 5th or 6th.
He's streaky. He's been more streaky this year than he was last year when he came from the trade Miami. I'll tell you what, nobody's complimented. He really plays an aggressive first base. I think he's gotten better defensively. When they first came from Miami, he was, quote, a man without a position. Could you trust him at first? Could you trust him at second? He plays really hard defensively, and he's still putting the ball in play. And he has some weeks where he's swinging at stuff in another area code that he shouldn't swing at. Yet he gets a bat on the ball, but he's been a little bit more disciplined in terms of his stroke and his swings in the last couple of weeks. So he's a solid player. Hits .298. I don't know what kind of marquee guy he's going to get in terms of offers on the free agent market, but he's made himself a much better first baseman, I think.
I just wish he was taller. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of times where the ball gets airmailed a little bit and he just can't reach it,
But I tell you what, he dives for balls and he stretches and he goes face first in the dirt to
Oh, yeah.
I think he's played a hell of a lot better first baseman than I thought he was ever capable of playing.
Well, it's interesting, too, because when Cronenworth was playing first base and doing similar things, and we're like, okay, I never really thought about having a middle infielder as a first baseman, because you think of Fred McGriff or, Pete Alonso, those kind of guys.
Yeah, and you want 6'4".
Right. But it's interesting to have an uber athletic guy at first base to see what they can do.
Okay, let's move on here. A couple more social media before we put a lid on this.
Okay, and some hacksaw comments from 619 Dano. He goes, shut the F up, Lee. A couple of weeks ago, you were crowning the shitty Dodgers as the National League West champs. This is comedy.
No. We're dealing with whatever we're dealing with, what the standings say the day we're doing the podcast. Weeks and weeks ago, the Padres were in a world of hurt. You do remember Tatis hit 188 for a chunk of time and Manny hitting 219 and all that. We were dealing with it at that point in time. Now, teams gotten better. Teams gotten hot. Teams added personnel. So, therefore, it's a real different team now than it was when I was analyzing where they were at that point. And the Dodgers, they were blazing out of the gate, and then all these injuries beset them. So, geez, don't hold it against me. That's insulting to say STFU. I'm dealing with the topics the day that we're dealing with those topics. 2 weeks from now, the topic may be different because of injuries or trades or whatever. Gee, 619 Dano. I'm sorry. You're going to get picked off. You're going to get picked off, or you might get ejected. Come on, give us a break. We really do good sports talk here, don't we?
I think so. Yeah. But it's a funny theme, especially in Instagram, where the first they think you're paid by the Dodgers, then they think you're a Dodger fan. No, he's really a Padre fan. Oh no, he's been in San Diego forever. But then they get on your case, like 4 weeks ago you were calling for AJ Preller to, he needs to be fired or whatever, and you're high, you're low, you're all over the place.
Do you think these people will have a heart attack if I show up next week wearing a Padre hat and a Dodger sweatshirt?
Yeah, that might make some people's heads explode.
Move on. Thanks, Dano. Call us again.
Okay, let's talk some Chargers here. And this is with Snoopers. He goes, Joey who? It's Thule's time.
Well, my concern about Charger football is life after Bosa, life after those two inside defensive tackles. I do think the back seven at linebacker and secondary is spectacular, and it's deep, and they got athletes that can run all night. Now, Thule played really well, but understand, that year and a half that Thule did exceptionally well, he had Bosa and Khalil Mack as part of his running mates. Now it's going to be on Thule to do it all by himself because there is no Joey Bosa. I think he's fine, and I think their linebacking group is really athletic. My biggest concern is they got 8 guys inside a defensive tackle. I don't think any of these 8 guys is equal to Poona Ford or what Morgan Fox gave them defensively up front. And we start playing for real a couple weeks against Kansas City, and I hope that does not become a glaring problem. I mean, right now the statistics are saying, hey, dynamic defense, lots of athletes, etc. It's preseason, but end of the day, you got to be tough up inside. And I don't know that they're tough up inside right now because hardly anybody they got at defensive tackle has ever played a hell of a lot of snaps for them.
Yeah, it's just so hard to be a Charger fan. It's just always something with this team, and now it was Bosa that underperformed, didn't meet expectations.
He was hurt all the time.
Yeah, and now Thule, hopefully he has a chance to shine. By the way, that opening game, we were talking about it last week. It's going to be in Brazil
on a Friday night.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube TV. I just confirmed that.
Okay.
And they claim that it's free. So I'm curious to see how that breaks down. Is it on YouTube or YouTube TV? Because YouTube TV is kind of like a cable package. So I guess we're going to find out. We'll navigate those waters in a few weeks.
Well, you got everything here in the castle. We'll just figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, next one.
Okay. This is a good comment. This is about the whole Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns. And this is from Sean. He says, hey, he's not ready, and time may not be on his side with Cleveland. I saw him break the play too much and try to be the guy making a play, but it's not smart approach. When it works, it looks great, and it worked in preseason games, but his oblique injury is coming at a bad time when he is competing for a spot, and another start showing he can do what he just did would help him stick in Cleveland.
Well, he might stick in Cleveland and be on the developmental squad. I don't know what they're going to do. They've got so many injuries. Flacco will be the starter because Kenny Pickett has not practiced yet. I mean, he's been out 3 weeks with hamstring, and Gabriel's been hurt. Now, Gabriel was supposed to practice today, and they're saying Gabriel may play against the Eagles. They wanted Shedeur to play, but now he suffered this oblique injury. He could not throw the ball very well, so he's not going to play this weekend. Shedeur needed games 2 and 3 just to get more reps. It was fascinating to see him. What a phenomenal athlete. And I saw this at Colorado, and I'd seen video of him at Jackson State. He did all that same stuff. But this is the NFL, and you can't get away with what he was doing in the NFL. Once you start playing opening day and you're playing against Pro Bowlers, etc., you get killed, and you're going to turn the ball over a lot. But he just needs lots of reps to grow, and now he's dinged up a bit. If you're asking me, I think he winds up on the developmental squad, but they're going to have to expose him to waivers. You got to get him off the roster. He's got to go through waivers to get him on your developmental squad. So only time will tell. Maybe he doesn't play the next 2 weeks. They just hide him and just spend the year developing him. You can always bring him off developmental, but you got to get him through waivers first.
Yeah, I think there's just too many people that are like, wait and see. This is the NFL. You never know. I mean, I'm glass half full on this guy. I mean, I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders than, Johnny Manziel or, some of these other guys that the Browns have drafted at quarterback. I mean, there's a long list of them over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a Browns fan, I got to be thrilled. I mean, Flacco is serviceable, but he's not going to get you to the playoffs.
No. And Gabriel played really well in all the OTA workouts, the Oregon quarterback. He's older and more mature, and he's been in a pro offense. But the thing is, he's undersized. And once he got into camp in the regular full speed practices, when they were lining up Dylan Gabriel against Cleveland's number one, he really struggled. He got overwhelmed with the pass rush, et cetera, because he's smaller stature. I mean, maybe he's 5'10".
No, I thought he was around 6 foot. But you're right. He's not, Ryan Leaf in the pocket or Peyton Manning or anything. But it's cool having a quarterback with the last name Gabriel. Because I think of Roman Gabriel, which was just such an awesome name. Doesn't it? You think they should have statues of Roman Gabriel someplace, right?
Yeah, I do go off tangents so easily.
I do.
Is that called attention deficit disorder?
Yeah, it might be. It's something.
I feel bad because I wanted to see weeks 2 and 3 with Sanders and just see what kind of progressions he would make, but now he's dinged up.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see more of him.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay, this is an interesting topic, talking about all the sky-high ticket prices in Major League Baseball. This is from Ryan, and he says, Padres are in the luxury business now. Great product and experience with the high price. I had season tickets for the first 2 seasons at Petco Park. Now I'm priced out. Park at the Park, Gallagher Square, used to be $5. Now it's $45. That's $180 for a family of 4. Include parking and food, and it's over $300. I've been to 1 game this season with my son. We left my wife and daughter at home.
Well, people got upset. I wrote a really lengthy column about that about a week ago, my one man's opinion column on my website, which is why you should read my website every day, because there's some pretty good journalistic stuff that I do. I even convinced Tim that what I write's pretty good.
It is.
But, I hated to say it, but it's like the Padres are taxing the fans for their loyalty. Product on the field has been spectacular, 5 years running. The investment that Seidler's ownership has made has been absolutely amazing. We haven't been to a World Series yet, but man, there's a lid as to how much higher you can go. And they've raised their ticket prices 57% in 5 years. I mean, now you can rationalize, well, they're doing it with the Rams, they're doing it with the Chargers, they're doing it with the Lakers. I guess I understand that, but there's a lot of people can't afford to go to there. And I've gone there. I've taken my wife there. It's like a $300 night. Jeez. And I love baseball. I'm a baseball junkie, but how many times can an average fan do that? So, and once those prices get to this level, I'll guarantee you those prices are not coming back. I credit the Padres for creative genius. I think what Grupner and other executives have done at Petco Park has just made it a meeting place, an events place. It's just spectacular. But at the end of the day, how much more can you squeeze out of this population? And like I say, I'm almost to the point of being offended. 57% pay high or ticket price hike in 5 years. That's an enormous amount of money.
Well, everything's going up, man. I mean, it's not just sports, it's real estate, it's groceries, it's everything, and so I'm not offended by this. I think it's just the natural course of how this whole thing's unfolding. If we were still with the Padres roster from 2016, they wouldn't be getting these kind of fans. I mean, it'd be a totally different picture. But the comment on this that was interesting to me was about Gallagher Square. Because remember in the beginning, it was Park in the Park. And it was like $5. I remember that. It was like standing room only, $5. And I thought, well, that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't know if I've ever heard of that in any professional sports venue where they would have a inexpensive seat and actually an inexpensive ticket, but with no seat.
Yeah, to sit and watch it on the big screen.
That's cool. I mean, that was a great innovation.
Yeah, but when you rocket the prices up now just to be out there outside the yard,
they don't have any trouble selling them
right now.
And it's interesting is this for the rich? Remember back in the day, I go to ball games and there would be like always some of these old timers that were longtime season ticket holders. They'd sit in that first bowl, they keep score, they bring their lunch with them, these old school baseball fans. Yep. I kind of wonder, do those guys still exist? Because the crowds are so enormous, it's expensive. Maybe it's just easier to stay at home on the couch and keep score.
I think the demographic of Padre baseball has gotten very different, very much younger and very much more affluent to pay the price.
Well, yeah,
exactly. But the product's been great. And I credit them for creative genius. They've done so many phenomenal things. I mean, Mr. Redneck here is going to see the rodeo at the ballpark, and he wants to go down there at Christmas when they're shooting the golf balls off the upper deck. So, I mean, they've done some really neat things. So I credit them for creative genius to do additional revenue streams. But man, this price hike to me went, oh, that's a little steep for me. And again, I have an opinion on everything.
You do.
You buy it, great. If you don't buy it, that's okay too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm entitled. Hey, thanks for being with us. Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done.